This National RTAP training tutorial focuses on GTFS Builder and keeping GTFS up to date. Perhaps you've been away from your GTFS project and need to refresh some data. We'd like you to have your GTFS guidebook available, and we welcome you back to this project. You will be opening your import-export file,
and you will manage your schedule and timetable data in the schedule generator file. Let's get started. The import-export file manages your stops, so if you have any stop locations that need to be adjusted, or names of stops that have changed, new stops that need to be added, you'll make any of your corrections in your Stops tab of the Import-Export workbook. You might also have some adjustments to the service ID if you've changed days of the week or modified days of the week, and you want to be certain that the start and end dates for that service are accurate and into the future, and you can also update the start date from the past to a little closer to now. Your calendar dates may update from year to year, and you'll want to make those corrections to each of the service ID that it applies to. It's possible, but not likely, that you may have adjustments to a route name, a short name, a long name, or the URL that the writer will go to learn more about that route. The colors may change. Any corrections in this data can be made at this time before you publish it again. We've tuned up any corrections in the Import-Export workbook. Now let's go to this. Now we will work with the schedule generator to update any of the times or stops or any other details in your timetables that need to be corrected. If you've revised your shape ID, which is just above each of the trips in a trip group, you'll update that shape ID. Any corrections that you need to make here will be published as we go into the Intro Controls tab, clear all, and say OK or Done, and then generate stop times and trips. And we now have the data we need, and we go to the left of A and above 1, Control A, we've selected the entire worksheet, and we're going to bring that into the stop times of the Import-Export workbook and paste it into A1, the only place possible. We do the same for the Trips tab, Control C for copy, and now in the Import-Export Trips tab, A1 cell, paste. Once we've completed all of our updates, I suggest that you have your feed version updated to whatever day you are publishing this data, and then you'll know that you've made those updates. In our Notes tab, if we have shapes, we will calculate the distance between the shape ID and the stops, and I've selected an asterisk for all of the shapes that are available and a number 1. Be certain that each of the rows are tested, and we go to the Stop Times tab and reconfirm that no little gremlin came in along the way or any adjustments that are needed. All of our distances are less than 30. You may decide that you'd like to have the times between stops filled in and no longer have an asterisk or a blank, and you'll use this macro button, Interpolate Stop Times. It's not required, but you must have shapes in order for that button to work. Our next step is to go into our feed folder in our workspace and make sure that it's empty. From there, we can now generate our text files and know that they're going into a blank folder with no old data that will confuse us. And we say done. Great news, we have all of the files that we need. We're going to Control A, select all, and right click anywhere in this group and send it to a compressed folder. This file name will be used to upload at our feed validator. GTFS validator.omnimodal.io is our toolkit for validating our file. We use the GTFS file that we just created and select this file, and we may need to come into our Documents folder and navigate to the feed file and select the zipped file we created. Very promptly, the validator will give us our validation results, and if we do not have any errors, we can ignore the warnings for unrecognized columns. We might need to glance through them. They may have changed since the last time if the validator gets updated. We return to our feed file and rename our file a stable URL. Through the years, we've come up with a convention of naming this zipped file Google_transit. This will help with a stable URL in uploading your data. If you decide to use National RTAP and you're logged into your National RTAP account to upload your file and use our stable URL, again, you're going to name your file Google_transit, and it will be the only file available in your feed folder to upload. And we now have a stable URL to use at the partner dash or faces when we're uploading or sharing our file with the National Transit Map. You've logged into your partner dash account, partner-.google.com, and you now see the feed name, and with your static scheduled file, you can decide to manually upload a file from your computer as you have only made a minor correction and you'd like this uploaded, and so you select this file and say open. Alternatively, if you have a feed configuration where you've entered your stable URL, you can either allow that file to go on a schedule, weekly or daily, that it's checked, or you can decide to transfer the file by using the Start Transfer button. If you have set up a regular scheduled fetch for your file, you'll see that on this page as well. So you have an option of manual upload or to use the transfer with a stable URL. If helpful, this list will walk you through the start to end steps. Update your bus stops, any name changes, location changes, update your schedules, make sure the service dates apply. Reconfirm and update your calendars and holidays and calendar dates. Adjust any fares, route URLs, and we suggest that date stamp and the feed info be updated as well. Go to Schedule Generator, generate stop times and trips, copy the stop times and trips into the import-export workbook, retest shapes. If you'd like, replace the stars with calculated times with the interpolated data button, clear the feed folder, generate your GTFS, validate, correct any errors, adjust any warnings, revalidate if needed, and then upload your stable URL with a single file name to your hosting service, and then publish it wherever you'd like to publish it. We're here to support your success. We look forward to your questions. Support@nationalrtap.org. Thank you for your interest in GTFS Builder.